All right. Good evening, ladies, gentlemen. Welcome to How to Be a Business Analyst. I'm going to put a spotlight on me. Okay. Okay. Good evening, guys. My name is Tolu, and I am a trainer. And some of you guys have met me before. Some of you are meeting me for the first time. So I'm going to introduce myself a little. I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to try and keep it brief. My name is Tolu. I've been a trainer for about 17 years. I've worked in a variety of different sectors. Started off my career in telecoms. Worked for a company called Carphone Warehouse for quite a few years. That's kind of where I started my career, so to speak. I mean, before then, I did some work. When you're young and you travel around just trying to figure out yourself. I worked on a cruise ship for a little bit, just traveled around, not knowing what to do, worked in restaurants, worked on cruise ships. But then when I sort of, came back down to earth, literally, worked in Carphone Warehouse for a few years, worked in public sector, with Southern Council, Land of Living, worked in, a number of different industries. I got into training by virtue of technology, so to speak. So a friend of mine built a learning management system and was, looking to implement it for some banks. And as a trainer, I was able to sort of identify how it could be utilized better. So I partnered with the IT company. We built learning management systems, and I got into sort of training and technology from that perspective. And then over the years, I just found myself working in all the organizations that I worked for, helping implement IT solutions, whether it's a CRM system or a management information system or some system that users or end users use. And I end up training them as well as helping them implement new systems or new features to an existing system. So I balanced both technology implementation as well as training and development over the years. And a few years ago, decided to set up a training business, focusing on helping mid-career professionals transition. Hence, why I call it career transitioners. So what I found was that a lot of people get into that sort of space at that point in their lives.
Family member that we are conducting study with. We can.
So I'm just going to mute everybody. So it's okay. So a lot of people found themselves in positions where they are, in their second, third, fourth job. They realized it's not what they wanted to do, and they're not quite sure how to move into an area that they want to move into, especially when technology is involved. So I decided I was going to help people move into that space where they are able to leverage technology in their careers. And business analysis is one area that I found particularly interesting for non-techies, people who aren't particularly technology oriented. You're not a developer, you don't really have a technology background, but you want to work within the technology space. Those kinds of people are the people that I focused on helping get into a digital career. And for the last few years, we've run a program called Agile BA Fast Track Program, helping people sort of get into business analysis and Agile. So that's kind of what I've done over the last few years. Also run an apprenticeship training business as well. And the only reason we did that was because we found that a lot of young people, I want to believe that everybody here is grown, is an adult. We don't have any like under 16s in a room, because we're focused on adults here. So a lot of young people have a lot of opportunities to develop their careers. A lot of funding are there for young people, but not a lot for people who are in the sort of mid-career, in the late 20s, 30s, and 40s as well. So those are the people that we kind of focus on helping to develop. So I developed this unique program to help, people who already have a career. You already have knowledge of a particular industry. You might be in the housing industry, or in retail, or in banking, or in utilities. But you could be doing anything, whether it's admin related or not, but looking to sort of upskill or move into more sort of technology oriented roles. So that's the space that I've played in. I'm a coach and I'm a trainer, and passionate about helping people grow. So that's me in a nutshell. And I'll let you guys ask me questions at any point. So if you do want to ask a question, do ask. You can type in the chats, or you can post me and ask, and I'm very open to making it interactive. So welcome to this webinar. And let's get started, really. Let's get started. So business analysis. Why business analysis? In today's digital and complex world, it is almost inevitable that organizations are going to go through change. And whilst they're going through change, they're going to leverage technology. If any organization is going through change and they're leveraging technology, it's essential that business analysis skills are utilized. So business analysis is essential for digital transformation in today's complex digital world. Reason being, it can be quite expensive for organizations to implement projects. Either you're wasting resources, time, money. People don't know what technology to use, what not to use. You're experimenting, resulting in lots of failed projects. What business analysis does is it helps ensure that organizations are doing the right thing and implementing the right solution for them, and not necessarily just using a cookie cutter approach. So business analysis supports change in a variety of ways, and we're flexible enough to utilize any methodology, whether it's agile or a traditional rigid approach. So business analysis is particularly useful in agile environments. Agile is simply a flexible way of working, and organizations today, when they're implementing change, require that flexible way of working quite a lot. So business analysis is one of those roles that's absolutely critical when an organization is going through digital transformation. So what business analysis is really a consultancy role, call it an advisory role, where we're investigating and analyzing the business situation. So let's say an organization needs to implement a CRM system, or a resource planning system, or any kind of technology, so to speak. The person responsible for doing the research to figure out what exactly is needed, why exactly we need this solution, what the problems are that the organization is facing, so that you can tackle all of those problems with that technology solution. The role responsible for that, the role responsible for identifying and evaluating options for improving business systems. So the role responsible for doing the research to figure out whether we should use CRM Dynamics, the Microsoft platform, or Salesforce, right? And notice that I'm not saying this person needs to be an IT person. This person does need to have knowledge of the business, which is why we focus on adults, people who already have knowledge of a particular business or a particular industry. The person responsible for identifying and evaluating options for improving the business system. The person that focuses on elaborating requirements to ensure that the system is implemented, whatever the system is, whether it's a technology system or not, a technology system. You might find, based on research that you've done, that the reason sales are not, the sales team are not getting more sales is because they probably need more training, not because they need a CRM system, right? Or not because they need a particular feature, is because they don't know how to use the features that are there. So the solution might end up being a non-technology solution, but the role responsible for doing that research, to figure out what the solution should be, is the business analysis role. The role responsible for identifying options, whether we should do this or this, and compare those options, the business analyst role. The role responsible for defining the requirements. What are the features that we need from this system? That's the business analyst role. The role responsible for ensuring the effective implementation and use of an IT system aligned with the needs of the business. That's the role of the business analyst. So day to day, a business analyst may be doing a variety of different things. One day you might be doing desktop research, trying to figure out what the market is saying. You might be doing desktop research, trying to figure out what your competitors are doing. Tomorrow, you might be doing a business case, trying to figure out the cost and benefits of a particular option. Tomorrow, you might be drawing process models, trying to figure out how your organization works so that you can find a better way of working. Tomorrow, you can be writing detailed requirements, we call them user stories, to figure out what users need from a particular IT system. None of these particularly require you to be able to write a line of code, but as a business analyst, you do need to understand how what the business does can be improved using technology. That's what the business analysis role is. It's an advisory role that's responsible for research, documentation, bringing people together, trying to help the organization utilize systems better and improve. So now that we know what business analysts do, there are a lot of myths. There are lots and lots of myths around our role. I hear lots of people say, business analysts are only meant for IT projects. Well, not quite. I have worked with a lot of business analysis teams, a lot of different projects, and not every project is an IT project. A lot of the projects that business analysts work on are technology enabled, but business analysts are not only meant for IT projects, right? So that's one myth debunked. Another myth that I find quite a lot, that I hear quite a lot, is that business analysts are only needed after a project kicks off, right? Well, one of the things that we do as business analysts is we do the research before the project kicks off. So if you've heard of discovery, well, we do a lot of discovery. We do a lot of investigation, a lot of research, a lot of impact assessment, a lot of risk assessment, trying to figure out whether the organization should embark on this project or not. Business analysts do that as well. So business analysts are not only needed after project kicks off, we need it before project kicks off as well. So when you're looking to help your organization improve, business analysis, can be there before the project even kicks off. Another myth that I hear a lot is that business analysts only gather requirements for a project. The only thing that business analysts does is gather requirements. Well, here's where I think that has come from. Lots of business analysts are working at the moment, usually only focused on requirements gathering. And I normally tell the business analysts that get stuck on requirements that you need to be educating your audience about what you do and what you're meant to be doing. I find that a lot of business analysts are underutilized. They end up just writing requirements. But that's one of the things we do. That's not the only thing we do. Business analysts definitely do gather requirements, and nobody else has it in the job description apart from a BA that gathering requirements is one of the things that you do. Absolutely true, that's what we do, but that's not the only thing we do. Another myth that I see a lot, that I hear a lot, is that you've got to be a business analyst. Your job title has to say business analyst to do business analysis. Well, here's what I want to say about that. As long as there is a project happening, as long as there is change, business change, or change initiative happening in your organization, you can do business analysis work. Whenever you're doing the research, whenever you're drawing the process maps or writing out the processes, whenever you're writing requirements, whenever you're doing a business case, whenever you're doing any of those things, you're doing business analysis work. And here's why I like to throw this in as a myth. Because I get a lot of people who have a lot of experience in their day-to-day job, whether as a housing officer or as a compliance manager, or you're working in your normal operational role. You already do a lot of business analysis tasks. So you already have a lot of experience. What I want to say to you now is, you want to leverage those skills. Have you ever had to draw a process or write a procedure in your job? Have you ever had to put together a business case or do some research or write a report? You're already doing business analysis work. So you don't have to wait till you get your first job as a business analyst to say you've got business analysis skills. So you do not have to be a business analyst to do business analysis. Another myth, probably the most common one, is you have to be a techie to do business analysis, or to be a business analyst. You don't have to be a techie. I actually don't consider myself a techie, even though I've been working with technology, for a while. I don't consider myself a techie. I do not know how to write a line of code. If you put me in front of code, I just go blank. I have no clue. I've got zero clue. I don't know how to put a technology solution together to save my life. I don't know how to put a computer together. I don't know hardware, software. I don't know any of that stuff. I call the techies when I need to fix anything. So I don't consider myself a techie. You don't need to be a techie to be a business analyst. What you do need to be, though, is someone who can research, someone who can ask questions, and somebody who is clear in communication, because you will be communicating with techies. You have to be able to speak with techies. What do I mean by that? So imagine your organization is trying to build a website. You, as a business analyst, you need to be able to ask questions of the business people within the organization, and you need to be able to pass on information to the techies who are building the website and tell them exactly what they need to build. And you have to have a range of tools in your toolkit to be able to do that. You've got to be able to model what your requirements. You've got to be able to write it out very clearly. So those are not technical IT skills per se. They're more business skills and communication skills, but they're fantastically useful when you're working as a business analyst with techies. So the role of a BA extends beyond projects. It's not just for IT projects. It provides the skills and competencies that enable organizations to deliver valuable change. So if you are delivering change in your organization, if you're on a project, you can be a business analyst. You can use your business analysis skills effectively. I hope I've been able to debunk some of those myths and almost kind of sort of open your mind to the idea that being a business analyst or doing business analysis work isn't far-fetched. And when you come into any of my classes, I focus and I emphasize doing business analysis wherever you are, whatever it is that you're working on, whatever it is that you're doing, whichever industry you're in, whether you're in healthcare or whether you're in, the NHS hires a lot of business analysts anyway, whether you're in healthcare, whether you're in housing, whether you're in banking, wherever it is, it doesn't matter. You can do business analysis wherever you are. So if you're looking to leverage your experience, then this is one of the most useful professions to transition into, because it opens up that opportunity to work closely with techies and work closely with, digital transformation and move into any other area that you would like to move into. So there's a fantastic career path for us as business analysts. So I'm going to talk about some of the career paths and some of the things that you can do once you've established yourself as a business analyst. Here are some principles of business analysis that I always like to emphasize. Here's some of the principles, and I like to talk about business analysis together with Agile, because I always believe that when organizations go through change, these days they're usually doing so in an Agile way, and we complement Agile very, very well. And here's some of the ways we do so. As a business analyst, some of the principles that we are founded on is that we focus on root causes and not symptoms. We focus on root causes of business problems and not symptoms. What do I mean by that? When an organization is trying to implement a solution, one of the things that we do is we research to try to find out if this is the right thing to do. So let's say the symptom of a problem is that the customers are complaining. As a result, we might need a complaints management system. Right? So we want to go further to find out what's the reason why customers are complaining. Right? Not just take the symptom, customers are complaining. That's a fact. We want to ask why. Why are they complaining? What's causing that problem? And let's solve the problem from the root, rather than just papering over cracks. So we're very focused on root causes and not symptoms. We focus on business improvements and not IT system change. Notice I focused on the idea that we're not techies. It's not really about the technology solution. It's about what the business needs to achieve. So we're focused on what the business goals are, what the business needs. What does the business need to improve on? And then we can figure out what the best solution is. It's not about the solution. It's not about the IT system. It's about the business improvement for us. For us, it's about contributor requirements, feasible ones, the ones that are doable. We always analyze those requirements and make sure that they are the things needed to help the business improve. Not just about meeting all requests. You're not a glorified note taker. I always say this in my classes. You're not a glorified note taker. You're not there to just collect requirements and collect what everybody says. Well, we can hire a school leaver to do that. You're there to assess each requirement and figure out if it's the right thing for the business to be implemented. Right? So you do need to have knowledge of that business or that industry. So it's about feasible contributing requirements, not meeting all requirements or not meeting all requests. It's about the entire change life cycle, not just requirements definition. I said, I tried to debunk the myth of, we only gather requirements. Well, we don't just gather requirements. It's not just about requirements definition. It's about the entire change life cycle. It's about making sure the change is aligned to the business strategy, making sure the change is defined effectively, making sure it's implemented, making sure you realize benefits from it as well. And we always follow a holistic approach in business analysis. We always follow a holistic approach. And we look at the 4 views of a business system. Right? The 4 views of a business system core views of a business system are the processes. We'll look at the impact of the change on the processes. We'll look at the impact of the change on the people. We'll look at the impact of the change on the organization. And we'll look at the impact of the change on the technology. So when we are assessing the change, we're looking at how it affects the organization, how it affects our people, how it affects our processes, how it changes our processes, and how it affects our technology. So you're not just focused on the technology, you're focused on the entire business system holistically. So that's one of the guiding principles for us as business analysts. We're very much focused holistically on the business change. And Agile has a number of principles that we also align with. Agile has a philosophy that it's about helping bring people together so that the change is effective. Agile believes in collaborative working, getting people to work together. Agile believes in not getting all requirements, but prioritizing them, very much like we do. Agile focuses on time-boxed iterations. We don't try to get everything done. We don't waste time and have and never finish a project. We always make sure we get things done in a time that we've allotted. Agile focuses on evolutionary development, evolving a solution. Don't try to make it perfect first time around. Give us the minimum viable product and then add features incrementally to it. Empower the team. Don't have sort of a command and control approach. Empower the team, support the team. Let them learn as they're working and continually test and integrate. So these are some of the Agile philosophies, Agile principles, very much aligned to business analysis principles as well. So as a business analyst working in an Agile environment, you're very much focused on what the business should be getting and how as well. In terms of what we do and the services we offer as business analysts, this is based on the British Computer Society business analysis diploma framework, which is something that I closely align to in all of my training courses, and very much an advocate of making sure that business analysts do all these things. Now, you wouldn't always do all of this as a business analyst on your first day, but these are the things that you should expect to be doing. First one, investigating situations and figuring out what problems are. So that's a service on its own. You can offer that service, that research service, where we do some research, we investigate a business situation, figure out what the problems are. And we do this with using simple techniques like interviews and workshops and questionnaires. This is all about getting information from people. One thing we do. Another thing we do is we define requirements. We collect requirements, we analyze the requirements, we model the requirements, we prototype them, we manage changing requirements. So lots of documentation here and requirements definition. We also develop business cases as well. This is where we evaluate options for change. We identify costs and benefits for each option and assess what's right for the business. We also help ensure that the business gets what it asks for. So if you've set out a list of requirements and it's been built, you want to make sure that you test what's been built to make sure it's what the business wanted. So we do a lot of sort of business acceptance testing here as well, or operational acceptance testing. We do a lot of business improvement, business process improvement, modeling processes, mapping processes, modeling tasks. We do a lot of that as well. We do a lot of gap analysis here as well. This is where we do, you might have heard of the as is process and the to be process, the as is and the to be, the current process and the future process. It could be anything from, the payment process for our training company. So what's the current payment process? Draw it out. And what do we want the payment process to be? The future process. Draw it out. And let's identify the gap. And let's see how we can bridge that gap. That's one of the things that we do as business analysts. And, business change improvements. We help implement the business change as well. So these are the services that we offer as business analysts. And the skills we need, not a lot. We've broken them into 3 different categories. And this is just my own, this is not based on any, empirical evidence or research. This is just from my own experience. I believe the personal qualities that you need should account for about 60 to 80% of your skills, personal qualities. I'm talking about your communication skills, your leadership skills, your belief, your self-belief, your ability to influence, understanding, politics, understanding people, being able to talk to people. Very, very, very important. I believe it accounts for a majority of the skills needed, competencies needed to be effective as a business analyst. Your professional techniques, I'll say 10 to 20. I'll say about 10%. 10 to 20%. And business knowledge, I'll say about 10 to 20% as well. Which is quite interesting because people assume that they need a lot of these and they don't focus on this. But I say, you need to focus on the personal qualities. You would learn this in class. I'll teach you the professional techniques you need, the modeling techniques, the process modeling techniques. You'll learn that in class. Your requirements engineering, how to write requirements, you'll learn that in class. You'll learn that quite quickly. Stakeholder management techniques as well, you'll learn that in class. Business knowledge, I can't teach you this. This is knowledge of a particular domain, a particular industry, subject matter expertise, being able to know something. So everybody here has worked in an organization before, worked in an industry before, even if it's in the marketing industry or the housing industry or the healthcare industry, you know that business, you know that industry. That comes under business knowledge. You understand finance, you understand how to calculate profits, margins. You probably have gathered that over time. You understand how to manage suppliers. You understand, contracts and the commercials of engaging an external stakeholder. You would have picked that up over time. But all that absolutely valid. And the funny thing is, when you are going through interviews, these are the areas that you're going to be assessed on, mostly. They're going to look at, okay, do you know how to write requirements? Do you know how to draw processes? Do you understand this industry? But this is what they would hire you for. Are you able to get in front of my customers? Are you not going to piss them off? Are you going to be able to work with people? Are you going to be able to, communicate effectively? So you want to make sure that you focus on this. So in terms of the competencies, those three categories are generally, what we tend to focus on. But you learn the professional techniques in class. You've got to have some level of experience already to have that business knowledge. And I'll always say, continually improve your personal qualities. Be self-aware, understand who you are, what your personality is, what your character traits are, what your comfort zone is, and what you've got to work on individually. And coaching really helps with this. Coaching really helps with understanding yourself and understanding what you should be working on and improving as a person. So what do business analysts earn? Well, it ranges. So here's some recent figures. Scrum Masters, 470 or thereabouts, sort of average for the UK. Still seeing some roles around 500 lately. Business analysts still saw a 650 role for a business analyst, but this is a really experienced business analyst. So recently seen some roles for business analysts from 400, 500, 600 or thereabouts. That's day rates. That's day rates as a contractor. Data analysts, a little less, but growing as well. Data scientists earn a little bit more. And there are a variety of roles in the digital space that require you not to be such a techie, but as you establish yourself in those careers, the day rates are getting attractive. Now, I'm more of a establish your career, choose which area you want to focus on, and build your skill set and build your career in that space, whether you want to be a Scrum Master or a business analyst or a data analyst. Choose that path and and develop your skills, both your personal qualities and your professional techniques as well. So I mentioned earlier that business analysis has some really fantastic career paths. As a business analyst, you can end up in a variety of places. Naturally, the natural progression will be to be a senior business analyst, a lead business analyst, head of business analysis, natural career path after a few years of being a business analyst. Being a business architect is becoming a fantastic option. As an architect, I did some work recently for a building society up in Cardiff, and they had a did some training for them, and they had a group about 10 of business architects. Every single one of them, except their manager, was a business analyst before they became a business architect. Every single one of them was a business analyst before they became a business architect. And business architecture is becoming more and more requested, both in a variety of different industries. In telecoms, I did some work with a telecoms organization a couple of years ago as a business architecture manager, and that was quite useful. In banking, more business architects are being hired. So, again, as a business analyst, you can develop into a business architect. It's very much a natural progression as well. We focus on business modeling, business activity modeling, target operation modeling, capability modeling, value stream analysis, all things that we will talk about in class if you come into any of my business analysis classes. But as a business architect, that's what you're going to be doing day to day. You're going to be determining where projects should be, what projects the business should be investing in. And then enterprise architecture, this is a lot more tech. So if you're tech inclined, if you're very much the kind of person that wants to develop your career in a more sort of technology driven way, you want to understand technology a lot more, you want to be working directly with technology and lead in that respect, then enterprise architecture is where you want to go. I would probably say before you get into enterprise architecture, you might want to do a little bit of solution architecture. As a business analyst, kind of start to work with solution architects, understand what they do a little bit. Enterprise architecture includes data architecture, systems architecture, technology architecture. It's a natural progression for, architects, solution architects. And as a business analyst, you start to work closely with those guys. You can progress in that path if that's where you want to be. Again, another role that has quite a lot of interest at the moment. More business analysts are going into product ownership and product management. There's a subtle difference between both, but it's not particularly a consensus at the moment. So as a product owner, you're working in an agile space. and you are in charge of the requirements. As a business analyst, you're in charge of the requirements. So it's a natural progression for you to be in charge of a Scrum team or the product owner in an Agile team. And say it's going to be perform the same task as a systems analyst. Yes, if you're skilled as a systems analyst, you'll be a lot more techy. You've got to understand tech a lot more. You will be focused on systems processes rather than business processes. You'll be focused, you would have lots of different tools that you'll need to use. You've got to understand data a little bit more and understand systems a little bit more. So yes, a lot of BA roles sort of double as business systems analysts. So you will find a lot of business analysts may actually be more systems analysts if they're working directly with tech teams and they're working directly with systems. So focus on, as a business analyst, yes, you can start to do very similar tasks to systems analyst roles. So when we're modeling business processes, you can be modeling system processes as well. When you're gathering, business requirements, you can be gathering system requirements as well. So yes, there's a very fine line between business analysis and systems analysis, but they're different roles. They're very different roles, but there's a fine line. And more in today's world, especially in agile environments, there's more of a sort of, we're working more and more together, closely together. And if you are a business analyst in an agile team, you will naturally, gravitate towards picking up more and more techie stuff, which means you would end up being more of a business systems analyst than just a business analyst, if you wish. So yes, product ownership is a fantastic progression for business analysts. A lot of business analysts proxy for product owners anyway if they're working in an agile team. A lot of business analysts understand requirements already. So if the product owner is not available, they're the ones that would handle the backlog. The product backlog is where the requirements are kept. A lot of business analysts have leadership inclinations. So when the product owner is not available, they would, manage and be natural leaders for the team. So product ownership is a real good progression for business analysts. Business change managers, another natural progression for business analysts. Some organizations have business change managers who focus on analyzing business benefits. And the role of a business change manager typically involves making sure that you've realized the business benefits. And as a BA, you do a lot of that research anyway, provide a lot of that information for the program manager or for the sponsor anyway. So it's a natural progression for you. And there are lots of other paths for business analysts. And I think it's a fantastic place to begin a career if you are, looking to progress. And by all means, I'm happy to take your questions. Keep throwing them in. So the question I want to ask you right now is business analysis right for you? I don't pretend that everybody can be a business analyst. I don't think so. I don't think everybody can be a business analyst. I don't think it's right for everybody to try to be a business analyst. But the question is, are you the right person for business analysis? Have you ever been part of a project, or you part of a project at work? If you are, then there's an opportunity. Have you seen where projects go wrong? If you can spot it, then you've got an opportunity, because one of the things that you want to be able to do as a business analyst is identify where improvements can be made. But if you can spot where things go wrong, then you are a natural for business analysis. Have you experienced communication issues at work? Are you a good communicator? Can you see where communications go wrong? Then you're a natural for business analysis if you can. Have you seen projects fail because people don't know what they're doing? If you're able to identify some of those issues, then you might be a good fit for business analysis. Have you got some knowledge, skills, and experience you can leverage? Have you worked in a particular industry before? Do you know a particular business? Do you have good knowledge of a particular industry, whether it's housing or banking or particular product or, education. You might be a teacher, right? And you know how the education system works, or the management system that you use in that industry, how that system works. You might be a good fit. You have some knowledge, skills, and experience you can leverage, then there's an opportunity. Most importantly for me, are you a learner? Are you a committed learner? Because there's a lot to learn as a business analyst. There's a lot that you can leverage from your experience, but being able to apply it as well takes some learning. Being able to remember that last year when they were implementing what system? Northgate in your organization. They sat next to you and they were writing down what you were doing. And now you can tie that to the idea that that was an investigation technique called observation. And you can now put yourself in that situation that you were able to, or you are able to do that if given the chance today. But you've got to be committed to learning for you to be able to do that. If the answer is yes, then perhaps you can stay on and listen to what we do within the Agile BA Fast Track program. I hope what we've talked about so far has been useful for you. If it has been, it's great. If you want to learn more about the program that I have starting, the next cohort starts in January 18th to be specific. If you want to learn more about it, please stay for a few minutes and let me tell you all about how you can become a business analyst yourself. So, firstly, the Agile BA Fast Track program is developed specifically for people who want to transition into business analysis. It was developed specifically for people who already have a career, who already have some work experience. If you are coming straight out of uni, probably not. Not saying it wouldn't be useful, but I do want you to have some experience to leverage. So if you've got some domain experience to leverage, fantastic. If you've got some work experience you can leverage, fantastic. So that's who we designed the program for. Program is 8 weeks. 8 weeks of intensity. 8 weeks of full immersion. 8 weeks of 3 days a week and homework for the weekend. So we start our classes on Tuesdays through Thursdays. So at 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, we have classes, okay? And it's all on Zoom. It's all on Zoom. So 8 weeks, 3 days a week. The first 3 weeks, we focus on business analysis. Now, I'm a big believer in accreditation with practicality and getting you work ready, okay? So the way I've designed the program is that it brings the best practice methodology of an accreditation, as well as practical application needed for the real world. So it's not, you're gonna learn, it's not about just passing an exam or just getting a job, it's bringing both together, okay? So the first 3 weeks, we're gonna focus on the Foundation Certificate in Business Analysis, the BCS certification, but you've got e-learning for that as well. So to pass the exam, you're gonna get free e-learning to understand what you need to be able to do as a business analyst. We go through this within the first 3 weeks, okay? As a result, what you're doing is you're really getting sort of ready for if you are going to do the exam, but also understanding what business analysts really do. So the first 3 weeks, Foundation Certificates in Business Analysis. Just doing this 3 weeks is not going to get you to pass the exam. You've got to self-study, you got to do your e-learning, you got to do quizzes. We're not going to do any of that stuff in class. What we're going to do in class is practical knowledge and skills of business analysis, but we align it to the certification. So the first 3 weeks, FCBA. Okay. Again, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, every 3 weeks, 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. The next 2 weeks is Agile. We particularly focus on Scrum because Scrum is the most popular Agile method. So anybody who's saying, oh, we do Agile, the first point, the first method we learn is Scrum. Scrum is non-proprietary, so there are lots of accreditation bodies for Scrum. But the accreditation we align with is the Scrum Studies, Scrum Body of Knowledge, right? The Scrum Body of Knowledge, the reason I particularly like the Scrum Body of Knowledge for new analysts, or for new Scrum practitioners or Agile practitioners, is because it's got a lot of tools and techniques that you can learn and start to use very quickly. There are other accreditation bodies that I would always recommend that you align with as you get into the industry. But coming in, you probably want something that's a little bit more prescriptive, which is why I particularly go for Scrum Study. And then once you've gotten into the industry, you're working in an Agile environment, you understand Agile a little bit more, then you can sort of start to go for some of the other accreditations like Scrum Alliance, Scrum.org. And then once you've done those and you're now done in the Agile world, then you can start to go for Skilled Agile framework and stuff like that. There are lots and lots of Agile methodologies, but Scrum, really good place to start because it's the most popular one. Scrum Study is a particularly useful one because it's got lots of tools that you can learn quickly. So we spend 2 weeks doing that. This is not going to help you pass the exam. This is to help you really work in a Scrum environment practically and quickly. You have full e-learning and materials and a Scrum Body of Knowledge, all 600 pages of it, to help you pass the exam. So next 2 weeks, we do Scrum. And then we spend a couple of weeks learning how to use BA tools. As a business analyst, you will be communicating with lots of software tools. You need to know how to use tools like Visio for process mapping, or Lucidchart, or diagrams, or Visagi. I'll teach you how to use those tools to do your process mapping. You'll have a specialist coming to teach you how to use Figma for prototyping, because as a BA, you've got to be versed in product management and product design. So you got to be able to prototype your requirements using tools like Figma. Okay, you'll learn how to use Jira. Lots of resources if you are not versed with Excel, but you've got to be able to learn. You've got to know how to use a basic BA tools. So we spend 2 weeks learning how to use business analysis tools for BA work. And then I feel like you're ready, but you need some confidence. You need to be able to take your CV and you need to be able to rewrite it in a way that presents you as a business analyst who can hit the ground running. So the final 2 weeks, we're going to focus on coaching. So we've spent the first week will be group coaching, where we focus on interview skills, interview preparation, job search strategy, and then the second week, one-on-one coaching. So you get 2 one-on-one sessions with me, and you can take it when you're ready. You can bank it. You can keep it for a while till, for example, you have a job interview. You can call that session, or you can have it in that particular week. So 2 weeks of coaching to get you ready to start going for interviews. How does that sound to you guys? Oops. How does that sound to you? Useful?
Sounds good.
Fantastic. Does anybody have any questions so far? Does anybody have any questions so far? By the way, I'm going to send this to you guys, and if everybody who's kind of registered, I'm going to send this to you so you have a copy as well. This program is powered by LearnFlow. So we use LearnFlow to manage the training. So our learner management system is called LearnFlow. So you'll see all the videos from each of the classes on LearnFlow. You'll be able to download the videos. Would one be required to demonstrate an experience? I'm not sure I understand your question. Would one be required to demonstrate an experience? In the class, I will give you assignments. For example, you're going to have assignments on user stories on requirements. You'll have assignments on process modeling. I'll mark your assignment. The first assignment will be a research piece and to produce a report. So yes, you will have to demonstrate experience during the class. I'm quite a hard taskmaster. Some people will say I am, but I try to make sure that you are ready to get into the world and start to talk as a business analyst. So we use LearnFlow to manage the program. All your assignments will be on LearnFlow. Your class videos will be on LearnFlow. Your slides, all of the slides we use will be on LearnFlow. Quizzes, all of that stuff will be on the system. So you'll have a LearnFlow account and you'll be able to have access as long as you need. After the training, you will be able to stay on. Work experience when applying for the job. So yes, because as a business analyst, if somebody hires you, they want to know that you can do the job. So you've got to show that you've got some experience. Now, one of the things that I always say to mid-career professionals is you already have that experience. For example, and if you are running a business, you're already a business analyst. So you've got all the experience you want, right? You need. So what we'll do in your coaching sessions is we'll go through your career and identify the tasks that are business analysis specific, and we'll pull those into your CV so that you can demonstrate your experience. Okay. So yes, you need to be able to demonstrate experience, but during your coaching sessions, we'll be able to help you identify where that experience is so that it can be evident when you speak to an interviewer. And this is very, very rare, and this is only if you have zero experience in an office, for example. Let's say you've been a security officer for all your life and you want to move into digital career. It might take a little while longer. So for people like that, we can expose you to some of the projects that we're working on. So one can use the transferable skills. Absolutely. You can use your transferable skills from your business background. So, but we have some projects that we work on that we can expose some of our students to. So we do that on a sort of, I would interview you, make sure you're committed, because I don't just allow anyone into some of these projects because they are sort of quite sensitive and they're quite, they're real business projects. They're not just case studies. So some people might be able to get exposure to some projects. And of course, we have an online group, and you've quite a lot of people who are in the role as business analysts. You can get support from quite a lot of people who will help, coaches and mentors as well. So you also have post-training support. So you don't just kind of finish the class and that's it. And here are a few things that I offer that I don't think you would find in many places. So the first one, my team always tell me that I'm crazy for still having this. As long as you've paid for a class, you can attend as many classes in the future as you need. So for example, let's say you attend a class in January, right? We finish in February. In March, you get a job as a BA. And we've got another class starting in March. You can attend the one in March as well for absolute free. You don't have to pay again because you've already paid for your January cohort. You can come in March and do it again. When you come in March, you'll be surprised that everything you learned in January is sounding very new. but now it's a lot more real because you're actually in a job as a business analyst and you can see what you're doing day to day as what we're learning in class. Much different experience. And everybody who's done that can tell you that, as a testimonial, because, it has new meaning when you come again for a class. So I encourage people to attend a class more than once. You will have access to all the classroom videos for as long as you want. So I'm not going to seize your access just because you finished the class. You will be able to download class videos, but I don't like for people to share those videos just for your own personal use only. You will be able to bank your one-to-one coaching sessions and use them when you feel you're ready. So you don't have to use the session in week 6 or week 7. You can keep it till you have a job interview, for example, and schedule that session. So those are some of the bonuses. And of course, you've got my ebook you'll have access to once you sign up. So those are some of the value-added services and bonuses that I have available for you. I hope you enjoy them. So how much is it? So because this is a certification-led program, the fees, £1,750. It includes the BCS certification and exam, and includes the Scrum Studies certification and exams as well. So 2 certification exams, those exams themselves are quite a lot, right? So it's quite an affordable course. So 1,750, but today I'm giving you 25% off. You can do the math yourself. If you are ready to get on to the next cohort, I'll be happy to discuss discounts and concessions for you. For example, if you're students, we can have an extra discount for you and so on. But if you are looking to get onto the program, please fill in the payment form that's in the chat at the moment. Just let me flow. Paul, can you please help me paste the payment form into the chat? Okay. So learnflow.info/payment form. Please fill in the payment form and I'll send the payment link to you. But when you do, you let me know. Well, you've already got today's discount at 25%. We have a installment payment option where you can pay in 3 equal installments if you need to. You can pay 3 equal installments if you need to. But yes, that's the fee for the program. The next class starts 18th of January, and I would love to see you guys there. If you have any questions, please ask me now. Any questions, anyone? All right. How have you found the session, guys? How have you found the session? Useful? Interesting?
Yeah, very informative and insightful as well. So,
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, very useful. All right, thank you. Michael, do you have a question? Raising your hands.
A question as such. I just wanted to comment all I've heard. It's actually very interesting hearing this over again. Like you said, it feels new again, and I'll be excited to also be be opportune to learn, relearn, and probably unlearn what I think I knew beforehand. But this is good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Gemma. Thank you very much. Where we go? Can we commit at a later date with the discount? Yes, but not too long, because it's a Christmas discount. Yes, you can. You can. Somebody was asking, Natasha's asking, can you commit at a later date with the discount? Yes. Yes, you can. All right. Any other questions? Can we use the emails? Yes, you can. My email address is tolu@careertransitioners.com. So email me, give me a call, send me a WhatsApp message as well. 44674. Drop me a message, send me a WhatsApp, email me. If you have any questions, by all means, please, I want to hear from you. And I would love to see you in class next month. All right. Thank you very
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. It's always a pleasure. And yeah, see you again soon.
All
Good
right,
night.
then. Good night.
And Merry Christmas. If I don't see you or hear from you this year, Merry Christmas, and hopefully see you next year. Good night, guys.
Yeah, good night. Yeah.
Right. And if you want to stay behind to have a chat, I'll be here for a few more minutes.